That. All right, UFC 316 this weekend. Big pay-per-view. First time out of the Apex, thankfully, AJ. But first, we have our first guest on the program. Still young in
First
this
guess.
game, but grateful to get an interview in. We got Jimmy the Brick Flick. And Jimmy, like we said before, I appreciate you taking some time.
Hey man, I appreciate y'all having me, man. Love coming on and talking fights and telling people what's next for me as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So kind of just to get started before, I kind of want to say, I was there in Kansas City. I got to see you fight. I want to say for me, even though you didn't get the result you wanted, that was personally one of the coolest weekends I've ever got to. I was there at the weigh-ins and everything. It was super cool. And one thing I wanted to tell you, we were sitting in the stands, man. When you came out, there's some dudes sitting behind us, a good amount of dudes saying that they trained at your gym and they were just chanting for you the whole fight.
Hell yeah, yeah. I probably had roughly 500 to 1,000 people out there. It's
jeez.
the closest I ever fought to home for the UFC, and like you said, I was at the Apex a lot, and then I fought in Canada, so not a lot of people could travel to Canada, to watch me fight. So to fight in Kansas City was only 4 hours from my hometown. I had a big crowd, and I thought that would have helped me edge out the decision. I still feel I won rounds one and two. I
Hmm.
just feel like, the little damage I took at the end of round two is what cost me the fight. I got silly and I jumped the gilly. like
That's
it,
how it goes. Trust me, Jimmy, you're not the only one that jumps at Gilly, obviously. But yeah, I was gonna ask about the decision. You seemed visibly upset and almost surprised whenever the decision was announced by Bruce. So you definitely did think you won the first, or you said rounds one and three, correct?
Now
No,
one and
yeah.
two, like if you
One and
go back
two,
and
yeah.
watch it, I had 3 minutes of control time in round two. I took him down less than 20 seconds into round one, had control. The only reason I lost position in round two too was because I was trying to finish the fight and I jumped the guillotine choke. And then after that, he landed some elbows. I even got back to on top again, and then that's when he jumped the guillotine. And that's when actually Herb Dean touched us before the bell sound. And supposedly
Yeah,
that was the second time Herb Dean did it that night. It didn't affect anything. He still wasn't going to finish the choke. I
right.
mean, as you can see in round three, he had a full on rear naked choke, and I still got out of it. I've never been submitted in my 20 something professional fights. And but round two, like I said, if you look, I had the control time. I had 5 takedowns. He did have the significant strikes and the damage. Me and watching fighting all these years, most of the time, more control time, more takedowns, more aggression, cage control, octagon control. I feel I had it all outside of damage and significant strikes, and I just had three judges that like significant strikes and stuff over my
Hmm.
control time and submission attempts.
Yeah, I mean that's the big discussion now, and then that's something that's being debated a lot is what is the main criteria? We've had refs come out and talk about it, whether it's damage, whether it's control time, and it seems like every fight is being judged differently. So do you think that's sort of an issue that um could be resolved somehow with, I guess, the consistency of the judging format and if the judging needs to be changed in general?
Yeah, I mean, I think the only way to do it is do live scoring. They do it in Kansas City a lot, or in Kansas. They do live scoring, meaning your judges have a paddle that show red or blue. And after each round, you see red or blue, and you see it from all three judges. In my eyes, that's why we have cornermen. That's why we have coaches. We know who wins round one, you know who wins round two, and you can also see how the judges are scoring. Like, hey, Flick, we dominated round one, we got it. Round two, he got the damage at the end. They scored that. So here in round three, we got to take less damage if we're going to control them on top, or we got to do more damage if we're going to get this round. Like, that's where your judges and your cornermen can see how these judges are scoring the fight. We can know that if we're down two, we can know if it's even. Like, it would be a lot.
I think Jimmy, I think I heard a little bit of a ringtone or something there. I think Jimmy had a call he took accidentally or something. But yeah, that's a big discussion nowadays is With the judging system, I mean, it is a boxing system of judging. Like we're using a different sports judging system. So for me, I don't hate the idea. Jimmy, we got you back.
Yeah, I guess I got a phone call and it just straight took me out of it. So
No, you're good. You're good. But I was saying briefly while you were off, I mean, with the judging, with how fights are judged, I mean, we're using a different sports judging system. We're using a boxing system of judging. And to me, that's never really made sense. I get it's the easiest thing to do and it's something that is conventional, I guess. But I think with it being such a different sport than boxing, you have to find out different ways to implement the judging.
oh, most definitely. And I think we're always going to have the back and forth, though. That's why we have three judges. They talk
Yep.
about adding more judges. I don't think that's going to help. I think the only thing that can help us as fighters to know is have live scoring. Right? Each round, like if we know it's 1-1 going into the third, then it's on us. If we know it's I'm down two, it's on me. If I'm up two, then I still know that this dude's going to come to finish me. He knows he's
Hmm.
down two. I think it makes the fights more interesting. I think it helps the fighters and the cornermen understand what is happening live because we don't understand it after. I can complain, think I won. At the end of the day, when you look it up, I lost and I lost my job. That's what sucks. Now I'm 34. I need to work my way back, and I'm working on booking my next fight here locally in Tulsa, Oklahoma for XFN again, and I want to bring in, a UFC vet or somebody that's on their way to get to the UFC. I'm not trying to fight cans, so I'm hoping to have some fight news soon where I can jump right back into it, prove myself, and maybe an opportunity on short notice will pop up, and I can get back in there and get my job back.
Yeah, we hope to see you back because I mean I wanted to say that that fight, even though like I said, wasn't the result we wanted, you still put on a great performance. I mean, y'all going back and forth with submission attempts was, I mean, it was a sight to behold. You had the whole crowd going crazy. It was, I mean, I remember looking at my buddies, I was like, dude, I mean, they're just going off, rattling off submission attempts. Here's one, here's another one. It was super awesome, man.
I appreciate it, man. And they were chanting my name in the third round. I even told Matt Schnell when we came out, I was like, Jimmy, Jimmy, they was chanting my name. I
You're
had the
letting them
crowd.
know.
It was the coolest walkout in my career. Like it was so fun and enjoyment. Like I had no nerves, and it's just something I'm not done experiencing yet. And I want to get to 20 professional wins. So right now, that's my next goal. My next goal is to get to 20 wins, and then we'll see what happens from there. And hopefully, I can make that happen in this year or 2025, and then see what happens in 2026.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you gave a little bit of a hint of what you're trying to get done now that, you were released by the UFC, looking to fight locally, maybe even step up on short notice if the opportunity comes. So my question is, what were the conversations like whenever you were being let know that you were being released? Who was the one that told you? What were those conversations like? Was it short? Were they letting you know that you're only a few away and we can talk again? What was the vibe like whenever you heard the news?
Well, obviously we have managers, and they just contacted my manager about 2 weeks after the fight. I was feeling pretty confident I wasn't going to get the call. If I was, I thought it was going to be the week after the fight. As it went on, I thought I was going to be good. Um, I didn't have no injuries or nothing after the fight, just some, stitches that came out, and then wanted to get right back to training. And I had 2 fights on my contract. But Mick Maynor, one of the matchmakers, contacted my manager, and he said this is what he hates about his job, and that they were letting me go. And she even threw out there that we heard they might be coming to Tulsa, Oklahoma. If that was the case, could we get one more fight? Like we're a big ticket seller, especially would be in Tulsa. And he said there was no words of them coming to Tulsa. And then I received an email from the UFC basically stating that in their contract that we sign, if you lose some fights, they can cut you. And that's what they did. And, so I always know it's possible to get back. I mean, I think if I pick my fights smartly and fight some good people and maybe even get the LFA title again, that'd be pretty cool. Last time I won the LFA title, I I wasn't able to do that in front of a crowd. I did it during COVID with no fans in South Dakota in a huge arena with nobody there. So if I could get an opportunity to do it with some fans, I know they come to Shawnee, Oklahoma. I'd sell the place out. So, but the plans get active, and then, like I said, goals get 20 wins, and then we'll see what happens. I just threw my name out there for some combat jiu-jitsu for Eddie Bravo. So it'd be cool if I could get some combat jiu-jitsu in. I love jiu-jitsu. I've never been submitted in MMA. I don't think I'd get submitted in combat jiu-jitsu either. So I would love to experience that. And that I'm a free agent, I can kind of do more things. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I was looking at some of your I was looking on Tapology. You're actually, according to Tapology, they still have you top 50 out of all flyweights in the world, which I mean, I think that's something to I would boast about. I mean, top 50 is nothing to be ashamed of. And also, 88% of your wins in your whole career have come by submission.
Yeah.
So you definitely are an entertaining fighter, someone who wants to get the job done. But saying that you want to, fight again with some of the other promotions, what is your overall thoughts about the MMA and combat sports scene in the state of Oklahoma?
I mean, it's pretty cool, man. Here in Tulsa, XFN, they've been doing combat jiu-jitsu as well, adding it in with MMA events. I think it's cool. I think it brings in a different kind of fans, because especially people that like jiu-jitsu but might not like MMA. It's jiu-jitsu with open hand strikes, where it shows that without hitting somebody with their fist, this is how you could work on jiu-jitsu while getting hit at the same time. I like it for ankle lock guys. It helps me defend ankle locks, and leg locks a little easier, being able to hit them with strikes. You can get TKO wins. It's easier to not be stalling. I think it's great. And I would be excited to do it. Now I have an opportunity to do it. So, I mean, I've done jiu-jitsu against some of the best in the world. Grappled against Marcelo Cohen for Fury, and it went to a draw. He's going to be in that combat jiu-jitsu tournament. He's the one that actually kind of commented on there, and I commented back to him, told him I want to compete with him on that. So if that happens, it'd probably be because of him. So I want to grapple Mikey Musanesi too. And I've been saying that name for over 2 years now, just to get it right. If I ever have an opportunity to call him out, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right, but it sounds right to me. And Mikey Musanesi and them now are doing like a tournament jiu-jitsu format for like TUF, but with jiu-jitsu. I don't see it. Y'all see
Really?
just get announced. Yeah,
Yeah.
Mikey Musanesi and some other guy are going to be the jiu-jitsu coaches, and they're going to bring in lightweights and welterweights to compete to become whatever they're calling it, champs. And it's for the invitational that they're doing. And so hopefully I can get an opportunity to be part of that. I mean, I am the only flyweight in UFC history to hit the flying triangle. So, you would imagine I could get some opportunities to showcase my grappling skills now, since we're doing more grappling, and we got an opportunity to make money grappling and be able to do it for a living, hopefully.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, jiu-jitsu pay has been something that's been talked about a lot, and also fighter pay as well. But a lot of these grapplers, these professional grapplers, have talked about, the Craig Joneses of the world, um, and others, that a lot of, unless you're at the top of the top, you're not getting, the grapplers aren't getting paid as much as they should. Has that been something that you've noticed?
Oh yeah, I mean, like when I grappled for Fury, they did pay for my flights and for me and my cornerman. And I believe I just told them I wanted 500. Like I didn't ask for a lot, and they accidentally messed up and wrote my check for 1,500 because they thought I covered the flights, which was
Hmm.
$1,000. But I actually had them cover the flight. So then I told them, I was like, "Hey, look, you wrote me a check too big." And they were like, "Oh crap!" And then they realized it, so then they gave me an extra $500 and turned around and wrote me a check for $1,000 for being honest. So like that was really cool to go to, and I got to go to like Savannah, Georgia, and me
Hmm.
and my cornerman got to go experience Savannah, Georgia after the competition. I got to come. My walkout was on a jet that they flew in on an army base, like. at that point, it wasn't even about the money. It was really about the experience, and the fact that I got a little spending money while I was there was cool. But to be able to do that more and make a little more money will be great. But I have a lot of sponsors that take care of me, and I'm on a good format like UFC Fight Pass. I think the sponsorship can help us as fighters and jiu-jitsu competition to make more money.
Yeah, and going back to that tournament that you were talking about lightweights and welterweights and talking about wanting to compete in there. Is that not going to be a big jump in weight for you?
Oh no, I mean, obviously, I don't want to compete in that one. I want to do it for the
Right,
band
right,
one, but that is
right.
something I'd like to do. But I have competed. I mean, if you go and look, if you know who Carlos Diego Fiera is,
Yes.
if I'm saying that right,
Yeah.
sorry, Carlos. I competed against him in an absolute division for $1,000 for 8 minutes, and he beat me by like points. It might have been like 20-0, but still, my point is he couldn't submit me. Then, if you go and look on YouTube, I grappled what was it? Tony Tipton, a 185-pound black belt in a 25-minute submission only match that went to a draw as well. I have grappled Johnny Bedford. It went to a decision, but when I fought him, I put him to sleep. Um, like, and I never get to grapple guys my weight very often. Marcelo Cohen was the only guy that I've ever grappled that was actually 135 pounds. I did grapple at 130 pounds against uh, this one dude in an invitational, and I dominated him. But then there was no point system, and you have to submit them, and I didn't submit them, so it went to the overtime rules, and he beat me in the overtime thing, which was kind of stupid. But it's like different competitions have different rules, but it's it's just fun. I enjoy it. It doesn't, I'll go compete against anybody. It doesn't matter the weight class though. And I do walk around about 155, so that is lightweight,
Yep.
But the guys would probably be monsters compared to my little ass.
Yeah. Cutting weight down to 155 while that's your natural weight. That would be something to see. But like you said, grappling is one of those sports. I mean, you see Demetrius Johnson on his YouTube winning competitions against 225-pound guys. And so grappling is one of those sports that, I mean, it can be one thing and then sometimes it won't matter. But AJ, you got another question?
Yeah. So, at back when you fought in Canada and after you beat Malcolm Gordon, after the fight, you had said that you were like if Khabib and Damian Maia had a baby. Do you feel anyway that maybe you've added some fighter skills or if you're still just around Khabib and Damian Maia, or if you've added something here to your game where you're a little bit more like this fighter now?
Well, I just said that because if you look at my style, like you said earlier, I had 88% of my wins are by submission. So that's 15 of my 17 wins. If you look at the other two, it's the same guy. Humberto De Leon is the only guy I never submitted. I fought him for 8 rounds total. I made my MMA pro debut versus Humberto De Leon that was 6-2-1 as a professional, and I was 0-0 in Bellator Fighting Championship 20. Yes, Bellator Fighting Championship 20 was my first pro fight against the guy that had his 9 pro fights, and he had
Mhm.
lost a decision to Johnny Bedford at 135. We were fighting at 125, and I beat him by unanimous decision. I just couldn't submit him, and then I fought him for a 5-round title a couple fights later, and I dominated him, and I would have submitted him, but the time ran out because in the state of Texas, both fighters have to have over like 3 professional fights at the time because it was like 2011 around this time. You had to both have over so many fights to fight 5-minute rounds. So as a professional, I had to fight 5 3-minute rounds. But after I won that title, Chuck Liddell put the title around my waist, so that was pretty cool. And but Humberto De Leon is the only person I've never submitted. And then I've been to 3 decisions. It's usually killed or be killed. So, and most of my losses are by knockout. Like I said, I've never been submitted. And then I just feel like I've been on the wrong side of decisions too. Like I fought down King of the Cage in the main event for in Albuquerque, New Mexico versus the hometown guy. Took him down every round, dominated him, took a little damage, and he won by unanimous decision. And that was a loss before the UFC. The Nate Maness fight was close, but I after watching it, I do understand why he got the decision, but not the Matt Schnell fight. I still feel I won that one, and but at the end of the day, it's killed or be killed with me, and I like to finish fights, and that's what I like to do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
go ahead, AJ.
I said I was just gonna say, yeah, I mean, and, fans are gonna love you for that. I will say, going back looking at some of your fights, you've never been in a boring fight. Personally, that's what I've thought. I said, even though there was in a card that was full of finishes, even though you still didn't get one at Kansas City, I mean, still was an amazing fight. I think one of the more entertaining ones we've seen on there, with the grappling exchanges. So, yeah.
Does your
Appreciate it.
does the you were talking about close decisions and how you were on the wrong side of them. Does that kind of mindset for you make you a little bit more optimistic or confident that you will be able to make your way back to the UFC?
Oh well, what makes me more confident is that I'm a finisher. I don't look to not finish, and that's what got me in my trouble in my last fight. I just have to be smarter when I go for these finishes. But when I lost that decision, it was like 2014 in King of the Cage. If you go back to that, that was in 2014. I'd never hit the scorecards again until that fight with Nate Maness. That was in 2023. So almost 10 years later before it's because I don't like to leave my fights in the hands of the judges. Like if I can submit these guys and get them out of there, I get paid, I get to go home, and I get more money. So at the end of the day, I'm looking to get in there and finish these guys as quick as possible. But if you also go back and look, I didn't really answer on AJ's question though, was with like my nickname is the Brick, and it's because I'm solid all over. All right. I'm 1-2 as a professional kickboxer. I guess it's kickboxer Muay Thai. I fought
Hmm.
Chris Berteras in a Muay Thai fight on a week's notice, and I lost by a decision because he kicked the shit out of my leg. And then I fought him in MMA, and he did TKO me with leg kicks as well. Uh, I'm 1-2 as a kickboxer. I have a fight on UFC Fight Pass. The highlights alone got over 100,000 views because I beat the shit out of this dude. He couldn't touch me. I'm 0-2 as a pro boxer. The both pro boxers I fought one on 24-hour notice. I was at work on Friday, drove down Friday night, fought him on Saturday morning. He was 6'1" at 141 pounds. Marquez Taylor, look him up. He's like
Hmm.
6'1" and got a belt as well. My first fight I took on a week's notice versus George Rakon, who's currently 13-0, supposedly had over 200 amateur fights, dude. This dude beat the shit out of me, but I never went down. Neither one of them, dude. Neither one of them could drop me. I wasn't even training at these times for a fight. I just needed $1,000 paycheck. So I know at the level that I'm at, I can showcase all my skills, but at the end of the day, I want to take people down and choke them out. But karate combat, I think that'd be perfect. I'd like to do some karate combat. I've got really good stand up. If you look at my fight versus Matt Murphy, I beat the hell out of the guy. I couldn't get touched. And just when I fight MMA, I know my game plan is to take people down and choke them out. So I've never really showcased my striking in MMA. And honestly, in that last fight in Kansas City, I don't know if that cage was super big, but it felt like Matt was all the way across from that thing, dude. Like it was so weird. So I just closed the distance to get my takedown. And it's just like every fight's different, though. So, I'm just excited to get back in there. And I think with my skill set and the way I finish fights and way people bring me in because I'm always an underdog, that I'll get brought in for a big fight and I'll win that fight and I'll be right back on their radar.
Yeah, you talked about the difference between the cages and talked about how if the cage felt huge in Kansas City. Your two fights before that were in the Apex. So what is your comparison or just your experience fighting in the Apex between fighting in a live arena? Obviously, there is a huge difference, but being actually inside the cage, what is that like for you? Do you game plan differently being in the smaller cage compared to the bigger cage? What is your experience and what do you feel is the pros and cons of each?
Well, obviously, the pros of the Apex is that it is a smaller cage, and if you're a wrestler and a grappler, it's easier to get them on the cage and work for your takedowns. In the bigger cage, it's a lot harder. But in the bigger cage with coming out and having fans, it's about the excitement. Like that's everything I've ever wanted is just to walk out in front of 15,000 people screaming and yelling, or in Canada's case, booing. Like it was great. And I feel like I performed best in those scenarios. So in the Apex, I think it did take away from me because the only time I ever won in the Apex was when I pulled off the flying triangle during COVID. Outside of that, I didn't win in the Apex. And I think if I could have pulled that flying triangle off in front of 15,000 people, that would have been breathtaking, dude. I don't know how that would have been. That would have been insane. So it sucks I wasn't able to do something like that with fans, but I really hope they get away from the Apex because I think it takes away from the excitement of the fighters, the crowd, the fans, everything. I don't like it. The smaller cage, yeah, like that. But outside of that, like everything that we want in fighting and work up to, I think, is based off of having a huge fucking crowd.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so we got about 7 minutes left on this Zoom call because for some reason you got to pay for it now. So we're gonna try to get into the picks for UFC 316. I know you do something on your Instagram called Flix Picks. We go on there and pick, and I think I would love to get your insight on what you think is gonna happen on the main card this weekend. I don't have it pulled up, but the first fight is Vicente Luque versus Kevin Holland. Just curious on your thoughts on that. Who you think's gonna win?
Honestly, I think at 170, Kevin Holland, he's been doing his thing. He's a big 170. Luque is, I think, at the back end of his career. And I think this is going to be a great one for Holland. I think he's going to showcase his striking and might even get the submission as well. So I'm going Kevin Holland.
Kevin
I
Holland by
like
finish?
that.
Yeah,
By
that's
finish?
not bad.
I mean, I do like the submission, but I also do like the, a TKO or knockout, because um, I don't know if Vincent Luque is going to shoot, so, and then I don't know if he would take him down. He might hurt him and then catch him with something, but I know that he looks for the knockout more. So I'm going to go knockout.
Okay.
Fair enough. Next
Um,
one on the card is Patchy Mix's UFC debut coming over. Finally, this is one of the bigger debuts in the last few years against Mario Bautista, who is not one of the fan favorites, and I would say is to most of the public eyes not the same as your finishing style.
No, he's not, but he is a really good fighter. He is
Thousand
well.
percent.
Little fun fact for you: Pitchy, when he was 6-0, King of the Cage offered me him. He's like, you
Really.
fight him. He's 6-0. The money wasn't great for King of the Cage up there, and then they want you to get like brain scans and MRIs. There's a lot to do it to fight up there, so it wasn't worth it for me. But the fun fact, or the cool thing is that I did get offered him back in the day, and then now to see him on there, I do think he has the best jiu-jitsu in the bantamweight division. I think he gets it done by submission.
hey, not a bad pick. Next fight on the card, the featured fight of the night, Kevin Gastelum versus Joe Pyfer. How do you think that one's gonna go?
Man, I think it's going to be a good one. Kevin is a hard one to put out, but I think um, Pfeiffer's got the power to do it. But he did get exposed by Jack Hermanson, but that's only if Kevin wrestles. But I don't think Kevin's as big as Joe or even Jack Hermanson. So I think Pfeiffer's going to get it done. If he doesn't knock him out, I think he gets it done by decision.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
Got the
thinking I
old
was thinking Joe
run.
Piper was going to get the knockout there. Obviously Kelvin has been back and forth in the last few years with his career, but I mean he's got a chin on him, I'll say that. Co-main event, Kayla Harrison making the daunting weight cut that she makes. She made weight this morning, was one of the first up on the scale, so that was a good sign. What do you think of her getting her first title shot against Juliana Pena?
Juliana has tried way too hard since the Amanda thing. I think she would have a better fan base if she went and tried to be like a female version of Conor McGregor, because it just she doesn't have the style to back up the way she's talking. And the last fight against Rocky, I mean, a lot of people thought Rocky got it. It wasn't
I
very
did.
entertaining. Yeah, and I think Kayla Harrison is way better. So I got Harrison. I think Harrison just dogs her for 5 rounds. She might get the finish. If not, I think it's going to be a unanimous decision, 50-45, Kayla Harrison.
Yeah, Jimmy, I don't know if you follow any betting lines or anything. Obviously, you make your picks on social media, but I saw that Kayla Harrison by decision was at plus 225 and I hammered that. So,
Yeah, see, I'm hoping I can start betting again. I don't know how it works, but they kicked me off of DraftKings when I start fighting. And then since I retired last time, I found out after a year after your contract's up, they let you back in. After I was retired for a year, they let me back in, but then I got right back in the UFC and they kicked me back out. So I can't do DraftKings or nothing like that yet. But so I'm hoping to. But yeah, I follow all that stuff, man, like the my lines and stuff like that. So
hmm
I can't wait to get back to betting, and it looks like Oklahoma's starting to open that up for us too.
hmm
Yeah. Now, really quickly before it ends, we got the main event. Sean O'Malley versus Merab Dvalishvili. What do you think about the rematch? How do you think this one's going to go? Do you think it's going to go the same, or do you think Sean O'Malley's actually locked in? Or
I mean, I expect it to go the same. I mean, honestly, but I hope it doesn't. I mean, at least O'Malley knows he did hurt him in the 5th round. So I don't know. I think O'Malley made all the right moves to try to perform better. Mindset, family, off the social media, smoking a little less. We'll see. I mean, I'm excited to see it, but I do think I mean it's like betting against Floyd Mayweather when you come to Merab. Like it just Merab's probably going to get the decision. So I'm going Merab decision.
Yeah, one thing that I was kind of evident on whenever it comes to O'Malley's approach for this one is this is my opinion. You can give your take on this as well. I think he needs to be a little bit more on the pressure. I think he needs to be a little bit more on the first foot. He needs to put a lot more output out and a lot more volume out. That's just my thought. I think Merab being that decision guy that we know he is and his style, not creating many finishes, I think that should give O'Malley a little bit of a mindset to where he can be a little bit more trigger happy, knowing that he probably won't get hurt too bad.
Yeah, throw them knees. He's going to take you down anyway. Throw them knees. Hopefully, one catches him. Maybe make him hesitate a little bit, dude. Like, yeah, let it go, and then try to get back up. You know, that's the problem though. Getting taken down and held down for 4 minutes, and then changes the whole aspect of the next 4 rounds. You know, but he needs to be active, move a lot, and throw a lot of knees and stuff right down the middle. And you know, well, I mean, obviously, I don't think he can defend too many takedowns. Maybe a few, but you know, Marab's just too consistent.
Well, listen, Jimmy, this is a big deal for us to have you on. We're obviously young in this game, and for you to come on with us for a little bit, we really, really appreciate it. Good luck going forward. I'm excited to see what that fight news is that you have coming up soon locally out in Tulsa, and I'm I have no doubt that you'll be able to make your way back. So thank you for everything. Appreciate you coming on.
thank you.
Hey, I appreciate y'all. I appreciate you too, big dog.
Yes, sir. See you.